content is for educational purposes only, drawing from our professional and educational experiences and opinions. Please use this information at your own personal or professional discretion. We are not liable for anything you do with this information. All are welcome to contribute electrical questions. No free advertising for any organization or personal business. Please do not mention names of individuals, organizations, or municipalities. No profanity. Respectful dialogue only. No electrical code calculation questions. No engineering questions. Now, tune in for valuable insights and join the conversation. Please, no code calculation questions.
Good evening. Welcome to Ask the Lady Electrical Inspector podcast. I am your host, Tabatha L. Tonight, I will be discussing the importance of meter out electrical inspection and why they matter for everyone's safety. These inspections are essential for making sure that electrical systems are safe and meet the required standards. By understanding the reasons behind these checks, we can help avoid dangerous situations and ensure that electrical systems work correctly. Additionally, I will delve into the outcome of failed meter out inspections by exploring specific National Electrical Code articles. We can deepen our knowledge and grasp the implications of non-compliance. This information will serve to enhance your awareness and understanding of electrical safety standards. Join me this evening as I explore the significance of meter out electrical inspections and learn about the potential consequences of neglecting these vital checks. Let's dive into the world of electrical safety together. What is a meter out inspection? The meter out inspection provides an electrical safety check to visually inspect and examine the electrical system to guarantee its safe operation. This process entails inspecting potential danger such as deteriorated electrical equipment, deteriorated meters, panels, and circuit breakers, damaged electrical equipment, damaged wiring, damaged or loose connections, damaged receptacles or switches, faulty outlets, loose connections, vandalized or missing electrical equipment, proper grounding system, or improper grounding. The authority having jurisdiction requires a meter out inspection before your utility company can turn your power back on. If your utility provider has suggested an inspection, it means they have noticed something that needs to be checked for safety and fix any visible damage before your electricity will be restored. The purpose of a meter out inspection: to prevent electrical accidents by identifying and addressing potential hazards in the electrical system. By identifying and rectifying these issues, the aim is to mitigate the risk of electrical shock and fire hazards. This meticulous evaluation is conducted by the authority having jurisdiction. The meter out inspection will give the homeowner and business owner peace of mind regarding electrical safety. What are the requirements for a meter out inspection? Before a meter out inspection occurs, you need to fill out a permit application. This permit allows the authority having jurisdiction to enter into your establishment. After you receive the meter out permit, an inspection is required to check everything to make sure it's safe and meet the electrical system standards. This inspection ensures that the electrical service can be turned on safely and that all components are correctly installed. For the inspectors to do their jobs, they will need access both to the inside and outside of the property. It is important to have someone who is at least 18 years old present for the inspector to get in and be there during the inspection. If the property is vacant or empty and requires a lockbox, no one needs to be there in person, but you will need to provide a lockbox code to the inspector or include a lockbox information on your permit. When scheduling the inspection, expect a 3-hour window for the inspector to arrive. Being flexible with your schedule will help us get the inspection done sooner and get your electrical service turned back on quickly. If you need a specific time for the inspection, you can schedule the inspection a few days ahead. If you need to cancel an inspection, please let us know right away. If access isn't provided for the inspection, we will close the permit and you will need to apply for a new permit and schedule a new inspection time, which will come with an extra cost. Important application for the meter route information. This is important application information for the meter route. So this information must be provided on your meter route application. The address of the meter route inspection, the municipality or the city, the zip code. The number one thing you need on your permit is the premise number. This information can be obtained from the utility company. The property owner's name, the property owner mailing address, property owner's phone number, the applicant's name, the applicant's address, the applicant's email, the applicant's phone number, address where the inspection results should be sent. You also must acknowledge that someone 18 years or older will be present for the inspection. When it comes to getting electricity turned back on in a property that needs an electrical safety inspection, there are several important steps to keep in mind. The inspection may not always be approved. If the electrical system isn't in good shape or if the property has been vacant for a long time, significant repairs might be needed before the electricity can be reconnected. If the initial inspection for the meter out fails, you will need a licensed electrical contractor to get a permit and carry out the necessary repairs. After those repairs are done and pass the inspection, your electricity can be restored. Our goal is to make the process of reconnecting your electricity as smooth and efficient as possible, focusing on providing the services you need in a timely manner. If your inspection get the green light, the utility company will be notified on the next business day. If you have set up an account with the utility company, they will usually activate your electricity within a couple of weeks, depending on their schedule. If the inspection does not pass, you will receive a rejection letter that explains the reasons, but it may take a few days to arrive. Question that I often receive: whose responsibility is it for purchasing the meter? Purchasing, installing, connecting, and maintaining safe contained meter sockets is the responsibility of the customer. The customer is the person that is filling out the meter out application. The utility company's requirement, Section 600 in the manual, 2 3, and 4. The weatherhead, service raceway, or conduits, service entrance conductor, service knob attached to the house, grounding electrode system, meter socket, and service equipment will be installed, owned, and maintained by the customer. This installation shall meet the requirements of the latest edition of the National Electrical Code or the requirements of the authority having jurisdiction. Grounding shall meet the requirements of the latest edition of the National Electrical Code or the requirements of the authority having jurisdiction. Now, I will give you a common list of violations found on meter out inspections. The number one violation that I often find on meter out inspections: new meter and panel installed without a permit or inspections. The whole house has been remodeled without a permit or inspections. The whole house has been replaced with devices, lighting outlets, receptacles, new wiring throughout the house. If this happens, the meter, the panel, the wiring in the house, everything must be abated and removed and replaced with everything new. This is a violation of the Electrical Ordinance 1102-8015 inspections. Inspections are required. Inspections shall be made of electrical installations for which permits have been issued in a manner and to the extent necessary to carry out this provision. If you install anything without electrical permit or inspection, you are in violation of the Electrical Ordinance 1102-8017 violations. It shall be unlawful and deemed a violation of this code for any person, firm, corporation, limited liability, or business entity to install, extend, alter, repair, maintain electrical system in any building or structure or on any premise except in conformity of this code. Notice of violation: when the code official determined that a violation of this code exists, the code officer shall notify the violator as soon as possible. The notification shall be in writing and shall be delivered to the violator, to his or her legally authorized representative, or mailed. Any person having been notified that a violation exists by means other than a stop work order, or who fails to abate the violation within 10 days after the notification, shall be subject to penalties of this code. So you can be subject to penalties, fines, stop work order, or notice of violation. The actions taken would be $1,000 or imprisonment not exceeding 90 days, or both. I will continue with the violations of things that I commonly find in the homes. The house not lockable, no door or broken windows. The house or the property must be lockable. That's your responsibility to make sure that all the windows are in place and that there are doors on the property. So do not call in a meter out, because it can fail for that and you will be required to get a new permit. I'll move on. Unable to complete a thorough inspection as the property is filled with personal items and some rooms are inaccessible. This often occurs if there has been a eviction. So now there are things that are left on site and we can't move around the house freely, or sometimes things are blocked, the receptacles are blocked, and we can't get to the panels because there's debris everywhere. So if you call for a meter route inspection, make sure that we can get through the home or the business freely. Next on the list, the AC unit is obstructed by the meter can, or the AC unit has been removed, stolen, and has cut, damaged conductors. This happened through vandalism. Often, sometimes the AC unit is stolen or damaged. So if this occurs, get the system to a safe position where if we come, you do not have any damaged conductors that are sticking out of the wall, you are sticking out in the outdoor. Just make sure that you cap it off or put it in a box before we get there. Next on the list, panel need fillers. So sometimes if the home has been vacant for a while or the business, the panels can have slots that are missing in the panel, and they require panel fillers because that's a safety hazard where you can possibly stick your hand in that space. That's Article 408.7. Next on the list, deteriorated service cable or panel or breakers, or the SCR cable is deteriorated, rusted, broken, or corroded. The panel can often have water damage and it must be replaced. Missing panel covers. So Article 110.12, that's the integrity of the electrical equipment and connections. The internal parts of the electrical equipment, including bus bars, wiring terminals, installator, and other surfaces, shall not be damaged or contaminated by foreign materials such as paint or plaster or corrosive residue. There shall be no damaged parts that may adversely affect the safe operation or mechanical strength of the equipment, such as parts that are broken, bent, or cut, deteriorated by corrosion, chemical actions, or overheating. The service entrance cable deteriorated or wrapped with electrical tape. That's an issue that I see. The neutral bus bar has been overheated and is showing signs of heat damage, discoloration, and melted plastic on the wires. Article 110.7, the wiring integrity. Complete wiring installation shall be free from short circuit, ground fault, or any connection to ground other than required or permitted elsewhere in this code. Next question. Homeowners question. Why do I have to replace the entire SC cable? Can I just wrap it with electrical tape? No. Replacing the entire service entrance cable rather than wrapping it with black tape is crucial for maintaining the electrical safety in the system. Electrical wire installation plays a vital role in safeguarding individuals from electrical shock and ensuring overall safety. According to the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, exposed wires, worn installation, and remove installation poses significant electrical shock, especially in wet conditions. And that's where the service entrance cables are located, outside in a moist and wet locations. Next on my list, protection against physical damage. The meter is located in the driveway. It must be protected from any vehicles that can possibly run into that service meter. So Article 110.27b. Also, you can find that in Article 230.50b B1, protection against physical damage. In any location where electrical equipment is likely to be exposed to physical damage, guards shall be arranged in such strength as to prevent damage. So a ballard, or you also are allowed to use a half channel PVC boot. Moving along. The service conductor does not meet the 10-foot clearance. So that occurs often where that requirement is in Article 230.24. So from the bottom of the drip loop, your service entrance cable must be at least 10 feet. The question from homeowners or business owners that I have often received while performing meter route inspections: when I purchased the property, these issues were already existing. Are these issues grandfathered in? No. As mentioned earlier, if a meter route inspection has been suggested, it means something has been noticed and needs to be checked for safety and fix any visible damage before your electricity is restored. Next on my list, meter and panel must be secured to structure. The meter or the panel must not have any physical movement. It should be firmly secured to structure. Article 110.13, electrical equipment must be firmly secured to the surface on which it is mounted. Next on the list, receptacles have scorch marks. Often, there are receptacles, they have burnt marks or scorch marks. If that occurs, those would need to be replaced before the power is restored. That's also Article 110.7, the wiring integrity. Next on the list, double neutrals. So often I find double lug neutrals, or the neutral is doubled under a grounding conductor. That's not allowed. We all know that you cannot double lug neutrals. Article 408.41. The neutrals must terminate under one terminal. Next on the list, I've seen this often. A extension cord is running through the yard to a next door neighbor's electrical outlet on the outside. Just remove the electrical cord before the inspector gets there, because that's also a violation, because the cord should not be running outside. That's a safety hazard. It shouldn't be outside because it's subject to physical damage and the weather and environment. Next on the list, open wiring, abandoned cables, exposed bare Romex ran throughout the entire home, unsupported Romex. So we can't turn the power back on until these items are fixed. If you have open wiring, to safely energize the system, if you go through your home and you see open conductors, you are allowed to put wire nuts or tape them before we get there. Abandoned cables, you have no power there, so you are allowed to remove those abandoned cables before we get there. Next on the list, supplementary grounding electrode conductor was aluminum conductor. Article 250.64a, aluminum or copper-clad aluminum conductors. Bare aluminum or copper-clad aluminum grounding electrode shall not be used where in direct contact with the earth, within 18 inches of the earth. Next on the list, An undersized main grounding electrode conductor. So make sure if you have a 100 amp service, 200 amp service, 400 amp service, make sure that it's not undersized. You can find that in 250.66. Next on the list, the water pipe removed or stolen. Unfortunately, the authority having jurisdiction has no responsibility for acts of vandalism. So if that happens, before the service can be energized, one form of grounding is required. So that's either inside the home, which would be your main water grounding electrode conductor, or you are allowed to run a supplementary ground rod, 6-odd copper or less. 6-odd copper or more, but 6-odd is the smallest that you are allowed to run. Next on the list, if your panel is located in the basement, or if it's located in the basement, sometimes in abandoned homes, the stairwell is missing or the steps are missing. So if that's the only way to get to the basement, some type of way, we need some type of way to get to your basement. So if you're missing an entire staircase, do not call the inspection in unless you have a ladder or something that's securely fastened that we are able to get to the panel. Next on the list, the house is trashed. I mentioned that earlier with the trash, abandoned clothes and furnishing. So make sure you clean that up. Good housekeeping. Next on the list, if it's existing and your meter is attached to a fence, that's not allowed. Next on the list is missing panel covers or screws. So you cannot energize your panel if you do not have a panel cover. A reminder, all meter out inspections are a one-time inspection. In the case of a failed meter out inspection, all repairs to the electrical system must be carried out by a licensed electrical contractor with the necessary permit and utility premise number added to the new permit and inspections to complete before the service is energized. It is essential to present this report to the hired electrical contractor. Additionally, it is crucial to remove any unauthorized electrical equipment that has been installed without a permit and requires an inspection. Tonight, I shared some simple tips on how to keep your electrical system safe and avoid problems when they're being inspected. By following the guidelines set by the National Electrical Code, we can understand why some meter out inspections may not pass. It also emphasized the importance of sticking to proper maintenance to keep everyone safe. Understanding why these standards matter is crucial for safely restoring power in your home. I invite you to join me next Wednesday when I will talk about lit retail store display cabinets. I will share why these cabinets fail electrical inspections. I will give easy ways to spot and fix issues before they turn into bigger problems. Visit my YouTube channel for short videos to get a glimpse of daily failed inspections. Gain insight into best electrical practice and pitfalls to avoid, as I reference key National Electrical Code requirements and guidelines. If you are interested in learning more about the electrical industry standards, Explore the 60 best electrical podcasts. podcast.feedspot.com/electrician podcast. If you would like to be a guest on this podcast or have any questions, comments, or ideas for topics, feel free to reach out on social media. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube under the name Ask the Lady Electrical Inspector. You can also email me at askthelady.electricalinspector@gmail.com for more discussions or to share your thoughts. Let's work together to ensure our electrical systems are safe and code compliant. Thank you for tuning in. Good night.